Hello everybody, VG Time back again with another deck profile. And this time we're looking at the Ultimate Deck Towa Leader. And from my play testing with it, I have to say that this deck does a lot of really powerful things and is a good option for those who are looking for something fresh to play in this new format. So let's just get into it. And for those of y'all that don't want to follow me on this journey, I have timestamps down below. Also check me out on Thursdays at 6 p.m. where I will be live streaming me playing this deck in my online locals right here on YouTube. So anyway, what does she do? Well, her skills kind of inform how you have to play her, and the deck, of course, is built around her. But she has a permanent that says that she reduces the cost of Dark Broly cards as well as non-black Xeno cards in your hand by 1. She also removes specified costs from the non-black Xeno cards, so you don't have to worry about necessarily what you charge. Auto, when she swings, you can add up to 1 life to your hand and then draw a card. So she does like the basic generic good leader stuff. And then when you're at 4 or less life, you can untap 1, draw 1 and flip her over. On the back, she's joined by Mecha Kabura, has the same permanent as the front side. When she swings on this side, she becomes a 20k and you draw a card. And she has an auto once per turn that says if one of your Dark Broly's or non-black Xeno cards are removed by an opponent's skill, you get to draw a card. So she almost makes all your guys float in a sense. Next up, we're going to look at the card I think is pretty much everything. Dark Shenron Tyrannical Savior. Can't attack, 16k, no specified quality uses. So you can play this as early as turn 1. +1, you're able to cycle Dark Broly or a non-black Xeno card from either your hand or your drop berry to the bottom of your deck. If you do it from your hand, you get to draw a card. So you get to make sure cards are where they're supposed to be because there's certain cards that search for cards in other areas. Has an auto that happens at the beginning of your main phase where you can -3 if you're at 4 or greater energy to put from your deck or your hand up to 3 total Dark Broly's or 3 cost or less non-black Xeno cards. That is also important that it allows you to do it from your hand because there's a lot of 4-costed non-black Xeno cards, but because Towa reduces them by 1, you're allowed to play it from your hand and get their effects as well. And as for 0 energy, just a boom, 3 guys. One more thing about him. Being 16 makes him very hard to deal with early in the game. He might as well just be 20 at that point. You put him into play on turn 1, and your opponent has to ditch 3 to 4 cards from their hand in order to get him off the table. You're fine with that. I put you so far ahead that you're willing to put up with losing the first one. Slug. This guy right here is a blocker. If your opponent does not go after him, which would be the smart play, in a sense, as far as our card economy standpoint, you get to then play this guy right here. This guy is a blocker. Remember, Towa reduces him by 1, so he's a 1-cost 10k blocker. And then if he is KO'd or he is sent to the drop area due to his skill, you can pay 1 to play this dude right here from your deck. So if you happen to open this guy up in your hand, you can plus, put him on the bottom, draw a card, and make sure that he's in the deck for this guy right here. This guy is also a blocker, has EX Evolve on top of the 2-drop here, and has an auto once per turn that if he KOs a battle card or activates his blocker, he gets to restand. So he double blocks, and he also allows you to get a little bit aggressive as well. Sort of like a bootleg Goku hit, but, much bigger. And then he has an auto that if he's removed by an opponent's skill, you get to rip a card out your hand, pop one of their battle cards, and take 2 counters off their unisons. So he makes it very costly to get rid of him by anything other than combat. And these guys are how you protect him to get up to the high numbers and all that good stuff. Frieza the Shadow Warrior. This is your anti-unison card. You swing him into most conventional unisons, and if he removes a marker, your opponent discards a card. You can also add up to 1 card in your life to your hand, so in those matches where you really want to power awaken, you could just put him down there, swing, remove the marker, take a life and then make them discard a card. Boo. Best of the new Shadow Warrior guys that came out in this set. Let me move this back some. So he comes into play. He top 7 searches a Dark Broly with cost 9 or less, or a non-Black Xeno card with cost 9 or less, and puts it into play off the top 7. So again, this card snapped in half when you add it with Dark Shenron. If you have it in your hand, this is one of the first cards you play, and then you get the other 2 cards out that you want. And then you get the top 7 search and put another card into play, all for 0 energy. Other thing about him that's kind of stupid, which is it's the main reason other than playing the free guy, is that if he's in rest mode and your opponent attacks your leader, they have to pitch 2 cards from their hand the first time they do so. So what usually people do is they get into the trap of trying to beat over this guy, which is hard to do with the blockers that you have in the deck. So they expend equal to more resources trying to get this guy at the table versus just losing the 2 cards to attack your leader. It's kind of wild. And he also has barrier, just real quick, he has barrier. So getting rid of him with a skill takes a little bit of effort. All right, now we're going to get into the other Xeno guys that are not from the deck, they're from the set. One is Lord Slug, Dark Parasite. I think this card in this deck is completely ridiculous. Comes into play. Your opponent could either choose 1 or 2 situations. They could send their Unison to the drop area. And if they don't send the Unison to the drop area, you could each draw 1 card, and then you get to KO all their battle cards. You got to choose them so it doesn't get around barrier. But, you know, your opponent has to, you know, pick their poison, so to speak. Turles Dark Parasite. This is a fancy blocker, which again makes it so that your opponent has to pick their poison. So when you activate his block, your opponent has to either discard a card or allow you to draw a card. So that's pretty hard for your opponent to make that decision. He also has that skill when he's removed by means of a skill. So you are, not only are you drawing a card off of your leader, you also could make it so that you force your opponent either to discard a card or you get to draw a card off of him. Then finally for the Xeno guys, Turles Chaotic Rampage. I wanted to run an evolve to one of these guides, and the Lord Slug evolve does not work with the Majin Buu, because Lord Slug evolve is basically a giant deadly defender, and so since they can't attack your leader, you would never proc the Majin Buu. So I didn't really want to do that. This guy right here though gives me some aggression. He's 25k double strike critical. When he evolves on top of him, he gets to restand, and your opponent chooses 1 card in hand, sends it to the warp, and you get to flip up to 2 of their life face up. So you can kind of see what's going on. Auto once per turn, he swings, he gets the combo with a green battle card from the drop area, negating his skills. That's pretty important when you playing it in Turles, because the Turles cards are completely snapped, and I will have that deck profile for you guys, so stay tuned for that. Dark Broly, so let's get into it. So it starts with this guy. This guy right here is red. That's important in this deck. But of course, she removes specified costs from them, so you're good as far as that goes. Comes down for 1, and you could pay 1 if your opponent is at 3 or more energy to put a 6 or 7 cost Dark Broly from your deck on top of them, and you can't play Dark Broly for the turn. So that last line of text is important. You want to make sure if you're going to play any other Dark Brolys that you do so before you activate this effect, just because of that. Dark Broly Uncontrollable Berserker from set 11, warps a guy on the field. Dark Broly Demon Rail Ravager warps a card in your opponent's hand in one of their drop area. And Dark Broly, the new Mass Saiyan. These are your primary Dark Broly. He's a blocker. Primary Dark Broly targets. They each give you some form of value. Again, we have another blocker. So that way you could protect your Boo, protect your leader, things like that, protect your Unison. But these are the primary targets that you're getting. That's also the primary targets that you're getting off the -3 of the Dark Shenron. If you don't happen to have the Boo in your hand or the Slug in your hand, you might as well just get these 3 dudes right here and just get 18 costs worth of guys for the free. Might as well. Lastly, we have this guy right here, Dark Broly Unbridled Destruction. Card kind of ass. I'm just gonna be real. Kind of trash. EX evolves on top of these guys, so he restands when he does so. That's the only good thing on the card. Otherwise, the rest of the effect is straight garbage. And the reason being is that your opponent has the choice in this card's effect. So what it does is when you evolve him on top of one of these cards, or when he comes into play and there's a card underneath him, basically. If your opponent's at 3 or more life, your opponent may choose up to 1 battle card in their hand, up to 1 battle card in their field, and up to 1 battle card in their drop area and send it to the warp. If they sent 2 or less cards, they have to crit 1 life. A lot of times, your opponent is not going to lose those 3 cards. Will allow themselves to get crit the life, and if they're at 3 or less life, you can't even activate this ability to put them in a tough situation. Or actually less than 3 life, you can't activate this ability to put them in a tough situation. So they're just going to be like, yeah, cool, crit the life. When I'm at 5, go to 4. Who cares? Or I'm at 4, I'll go to 3, whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to lose 3 cards. Like, trash. But he's red. That's important. Dark Dragon Balls searches the entirety of this thing here, right? This whole deck is so consistent due to this card. And this guy right here also plays everything you see here. So like this searches everything, this plays everything, this can play everything. Is completely nuts. 2 copy of Towa Rewriting History. She searches the Dark Dragon Balls. So she is sort of like she's like a bootleg Mai for me. Like for the Trunks deck, like the generic search the top 5 for whatever. So she's even better because this card searches top 7 for these cards. And so you play her, you search the Dark Dragon Ball, activate Dark Dragon Ball, and then get what you need. Her second ability does not come up in this deck. I do not play any non-black Dark Dragon Balls. So, kind of sucks. Maybe that's something I might incorporate a little later on. Figure it out. Topa, Righteous Aid. That is why him being red matters. That's why him being red matters. You need to charge at least 1 red energy, at least 2 green energies if you're going to try to EX evolve this guy too. But mainly for Topo. For the super combo that comes in the deck, you're not going to really find a better super combo than the 4 or less life ones. You don't have all black energy, so you don't get to play the Vegeta. Yeah, so best one you're going to get. 2 copies of Power Burst, Sparking the Gate. You have so many blockers that you don't really need to run like 4 Power Bursts or anything. Towa is also value for the Power Burst. So after you use a Towa, got your thing, you combo the raw, if you get the Power Burst, get it back, do the same thing all over again. And then 2 copies of Protector of the People. Good card. It's basically Topo number 4 and 5, but it allows you to use it for 1 energy, which is what's important in this situation, because sometimes you just don't have it. You could also just run 4 power bursts and have these on the side. Works either way. So this is the deck right here. Again, hope to be able to play this on Thursday. Show you how the deck plays. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for joining me. This is VG Time signing out.